first of all, David Minogue from the Custom House and his staff at the Department of the Environment. This is the 4th year that they've lent us this beautiful building, and we're very proud Northsiders to be able to launch our festival here this evening. The festival is 7 years running now, and it's been supported this year by Lewis, Waterways Ireland, some business people from the North Strand, Union Street area, David Meehan and Company, Hayworth and Company, and some of our politicians, Maureen O'Sullivan, Joe Costello, Emer Costello, and a lot of the local community. It's my great pleasure to thank all those people, but the biggest thanks, I suppose, will go to my family and also to my colleagues in Marino College, City of Dublin Education and Training Board, Marino College on the North Strand. We've been making an impact over the last 7 years, I hope, in the local community. And the very biggest thanks, I suppose, goes to Dublin City Council, because 7 years ago when I spoke to the arts officer, the assistant arts officer, Sinead Connolly, I suggested that this area, the north side of Dublin, could do with an arts festival, and she said, well, that's a really good idea, why don't you do it? And so we've been doing it ever since. It's my pleasure this evening to introduce you to Jacinta Stewart, who is the CEO of the City of Dublin Education and Training Board. Thank you.
I'm delighted to be here this evening. I grew up in a border county, so I was actually trained to smuggle as a small child, and 3 of my sisters used to sit in the back row of a car as we crossed the border. So I think the Customs House is a wonderfully appropriate place to be. I kind of look at it with some kind of trepidation. I'm conscious that Marino College has played a huge role in this part of the city for more than 80 years. And it started with, I suppose, the development of Marino itself and this part of the north inner city with houses and with young children. And over the years, it's changed and transformed itself as this part of the city has changed. And I'm conscious that there are groups here like the Swan Youth Centre from CDYSB, there are people from the BTI group, there are students. Tara's given us a rundown on level 6 administration in Marino and what it's like, and basically that you came here today to be bossed around by Roshi. And that she would tell you exactly what to do and when to do it. So I think you get some idea of what the challenges Blake faces in Marino. And as the principal, I think there's a hugely dedicated staff there who've worked for a long time in the north inner city. There are all kinds of activities, and at one stage, I think this programme ran for a month. But I was going through today the list of activities, the theatre, music, drama, Indian head massage was there. And I understand some of the art staff from Dublin City Council were part of that. So I think that's great. I think the range of activities is really good, but also the access to buildings all over the city that we're not normally in. And sometimes you take for granted and don't even notice. I want to introduce Roisin Ingle, who's the speaker for tonight. She writes a column on a Saturday, I think that we all enjoy in the Irish Times, that picks up the nuances and sometimes the colour, or often the colour and the fun of what's happening. And while there's a serious message a lot of the time in what she writes, it's done in a very gentle and funny way. So to thank her for that and introduce her. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thanks very much. I'm delighted to be here. Just a little bit about me, apart from writing the column. I grew up across the river on the other side, sitting boo. And I have a mother, Anne, who was trying to be here tonight, but she actually has a problem with her eye. This is extraneous information you didn't need to know, but anyway. She just discovered she's got molecular degeneration, you know, the wet thing. But then I tell her she's like Judi Dench. So that's not too bad. Judi Dench has that as well. But anyway, I had a mother who was really deeply involved in community, and she was always at meetings. She was always organising something and taking notes. and doing the minutes. And so at home there'd be always like the kitchen table would be full of different papers, things that she was doing, art exhibitions or talent competitions or larks in the park. And I loved growing up in Sandymount, and I loved seeing my mother being so active in the community. Kind of thought it was a bit much sometimes, going, God, why would you bother? But you know, people do bother, and that's what's brilliant. And I have to admit, it was a bit of a wrench when I moved across the river to this part of the city around 8 years ago, because I think, looking back, I am a bit of a home bird, and some people can't wait to get away and you know, make a home somewhere else, and a lot of people these days have to do that. But I was the kind of person who just really loved the place I grew up in, and I kind of pictured myself there when I was older, and imagined my children playing in the park I played in and picking shells off the same beach. That's what I did. But having said that, 8 years ago when I would have walked down my new street in Norfolk Avenue Lower, which is down in the North Strand, not far from the Five Lads, for the first time, I remember having this feeling of feeling at home. And I do feel at home there now, and that's a genuine thing, which is great, because part of you thinks you won't when you move away and you go somewhere else, and you go to the north side, you know, and you kind of go, no, you feel a bit of a refugee for a while. But I don't feel like that now. And even though I do sometimes sort of fantasize a bit about Sandymount, I actually wouldn't want to live there. That's terrible. I hope there's no people in Sandymount. I love Sandymount. I still have my bank there, and I still go to my doctor there. It's terrible. Some things I can't stop, but I do love it. But I'm happy where I am, and I love living on the north side and in the North Strand. And my children are in junior infants in St. Columba's on the North Strand Road, which is a great school, and they love it. And I think when you have children and they grow up in an area that becomes their home, it takes it, you know, I think that adds to the whole feeling of being at home as well. And I have amazing neighbours, and I have that gorgeous feeling of, which I really love, living almost in the city. Like, you're not really that far away, and you can be in town in minutes, and you know, I love that. That's what's great about this area as well. So as I said, I'm really happy here. But I didn't realise how much I'd gone native until recently. I think I have gone completely native as a North Sider and as a North Strander, because I got quite hot under the collar about an online review of, and hopefully a lot of you will know it, Dan Mimo's, in the best pizza in Dublin. And having said that, the Irish Times are currently running a campaign to find the best pizza in Ireland. So I just encourage you all to email pizza@irishtimes.com and tell them how amazing Tino's Pizza is there. He features in one of the exhibitions in the festival. So anyway, that's an aside. But basically, this online review loved the food in Dan Mimo's. Of course he did, because you couldn't not love it. But he said some things about our area, or our area, that riled me to a degree, that took me to, that gave me a real surprise that I was so annoyed about it. And I thought, I must really be embedded here now, that's it. So here's a sample of what he said. He said, this is the Dublin you see in the commitments, with children on street corners sniffing glue and Nidge threatening to pour acid over hookers' faces. And he also said, I advise renting one of those PSNI trucks they use in the riots and being escorted by a water cannon and police on horseback to ensure safe passage through the Amiens Street area on the way here. And I know he meant it as a joke, because I talked to him on Twitter and he sort of accused me of not having a sense of humour. That's fine. And I know that if my colleague in the Irish Times, Ross O'Carroll Kelly, had written it, I probably would have laughed, because then it would have been in the realm of biting satire. But it wasn't satire, it was real. And instead of laughing, I got all outraged on behalf of the North Strand. Because the place he was dismissing, it's a part of Dublin that is brilliant as far as I'm concerned. And there's so many parts of Dublin that get kind of a bad rap for maybe things in the past, or maybe not being the same or as shiny as other places, but I still think it's really unfair, and I just hate stereotypes, and I hate when people don't look a bit closer at what's going on in an area. So as it happens, just as a repost, I have safe passage through Amiens Street in Dublin every day. I cycle home along that boulevard of, and I have to say, it's sometimes boulevard of broken glass. There's a bit of that goes on. It's not always pretty, but it's never boring. I cycle past the shop selling products you'd miss from home if home was Poland or the Czech Republic, past the place where the people from the clinic congregate, who always say hello, further on past the Five Lamps, and I've really grown to love those lamps, and on over the Newcomen Bridge, past the cool-looking girl sitting in the reception area of the tattoo parlour eating a roll on her break, past glamorous blonde Irina in the fruit and veg shop, which very sensibly is just called fruit and veg. I really love that. It's brilliant. And if she sees you have a cold, and she makes sure that you get ginger and lemon in your basket, she says her mother used to make this remedy, and then she tells you about the cake she's just got in from some far land, and the basil's over there, and she's brilliant. And then we have this festival. We have a Five Lamps festival, and to my shame, sorry Roshan, I've not really been involved in this festival, even though it's been going 7 years, and I've been here for pretty much all that time. But anyway, Roisin, because as you will know, as someone mentioned, she bosses people around. And I think that's probably a bit strong, because she kind of, I would say it's more persistence and tenacity in a quiet kind of way. She just doesn't give up, and I think but that's the kind of thing, and she does remind me of my mother Anne, because if you get involved in the community, and I saw it in my mother, like things don't always work out. It's a real balancing act. You never know if you're going to pull something off. There's always that mystery of will it work, will it won't work. So you need someone who just doesn't give up. And Roisin is that person. So I met her in Cusacks the other night, and we had a great chat. I just wanted to say, because of that, that you also have to bring people along with you when you're in this. And I don't know Roisin that well. We've only just met. We've kind of been in touch on the phone over the last couple of years, where she tried to get me. Finally, I got on board. But I know by her that she's really hard working. She has that same sort of quiet passion that I would have seen in my mother, that commitment to the community. And I think just in the middle of this would be just all give a round of applause for Roisin, because I also should mention her band of volunteers who are brilliant, and she has amazing people from the second I came in. I even have my own chaperone person who was making sure I got here. That's never happened to me in any of the things I've been invited to. Thanks, Kieran, wherever you are. I'm going to take you home. You can do some domestic duties as well. So I was really thrilled to be asked to launch it, and thanks a million, Roisin, for that. Especially here in the Customs House. I don't think I've ever walked in the front door of this building. So that's a real thrill. And it's also a building that my children are mad about, and we've kind of, for a long time, every time we drive past it or walk past it, and they talk about James Camden, and they're very sad that he's dead. Is he really dead? They talk about it a lot. And it's also been great to hear about the many incredible events that are happening as part of this festival. And the brilliant thing is that a lot of them are free. I'd say most of them are free, which is a great thing too. Some of them I'll mention. There's the Lady of the Rocks exhibition, which I'm dying to see. So Catherine Maguire, I don't know if she's here. But anyway, Catherine got some of the youngsters in the after-school scheme in Sheriff Street to sort of reimagine the iconic Lady of the Rocks statue that's in houses around the area, and just sort of asked them if they had a statue in their windows, what would they make? So you've got everything from Mickey Mouse to dinosaurs and Transformers, and they're all going to be exhibited in the Broadcast Gallery in Portland Road. There's events like Sneaking the Village. I don't know if Wani Ivers and Shonina Sullivan are here, but this sounds like an incredible project where they've worked with families who are living in direct provision, exploring creativity, family and childhood, with loads of public celebratory events, including a big family meal, and everyone can go and join in that, which is a really interesting and creative way of producing an event. Or the other one I really like the sound of is The Merchant of Venice by Carnation Theatre, and it's set in an old style shop selling everything from sunlight soap to a bicycle repair kit. There's music, there's poetry, there's a proper tea dance, which I'm kind of intrigued by because I've never been to a tea dance, with the senior Artane band, and a puppet show. And there's everything from a talk on Dickens in Dublin to erotic stories and songs from folklore, if you're into that kind of thing, a bit of erotica thrown in there. A photographic exhibition of portraits of people from a cross-section of the Five Lamps community. And if you can catch the performance by Temperamental Miscellaneous, a brilliant young poet and rapper, you really should. So I'll just finish by saying a festival like Five Lamps is really important. I think, for that reviewer online, it kind of shows people who don't know us what we're made of, and what, people who might dismiss an area and not really look closer, it gives them a chance to see what we're really about, and that's a great thing. So thanks very much for having me here tonight. Well done to everyone, and I hope you'll all get out and enjoy as much of the festival as you can. And my last job is just to introduce somebody who is from the North Wall, and I'm told she used to be quite a handy badminton player, and she was actually a former director of the Dublin AIDS Alliance. She's now involved in the anti-bullying group Sticks and Stones. And the main thing to say about her is that she has the most stunning voice. But also, as someone else said, you also have to mention that she's just a lovely, lovely person. So please put your hands together for Shaz Oye.
we're sitting here in this wonderful building. It's got such historic significance, and we're beside the Liffey, and it's a river for all of us that it has carried our hopes and our dreams and our aspirations out into the world for generations. And we're 5 minutes from the world-renowned Abbey Theatre, so I wanted to pull all those elements together for a song. So my next song began life as a poem. And I know when many of you hear the words, you'll probably know that poem. It's by one of the great sons of Ireland, W.B. Yeats. So I love this poem because it captures and encapsulates some of the romanticism of Ireland. And this particular poem, I put some music to it, so I'm going to give you a world premiere tonight, okay? For the Arts Festival, an a cappella version of a musical interpretation of W.B. Yeats' When You Are Old, okay? Now I'm going to need your help, okay? There's a chorus. I've written in a little chorus. And the way the chorus goes,